Hi everybody, Karis here, and this video is going to be about death and rebirth and cycles and changes. And I know I've been talking about that a lot lately, but it's because that's what's happening, and it kind of keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. For those of you who might be more interested in tying mythological archetypes to current experience, I do believe that right now we're going through something called the Elysium. So there's also a movie coming out with the name Elysium, which is interesting because hearing about that movie is what sparked me to do a bunch of research on what the Elysium was. It's the afterworld that the ancient Greeks said was a place that not everyone necessarily went to, but who the people who were related to the gods went to. And I think that archetypally related to the gods just means working on conscious ascension and becoming conscious creator divine beings right now. But anyway, that's another subject. When I was setting up to do this video, I'm out in the middle of the woods right now. There are all these really huge pine trees here. It's a vortex where I am. I'm staying with a friend at a woods cabin, which I'm probably going to be bouncing in and out of over the course of the summer as I travel around a lot. And as I was setting up the video, there were 5 buzzards. Oh, and there's one overhead, these beautiful buzzards. And when I lived in Virginia last year, buzzards were some of my totem animals, and buzzards get a bad rap because they're animals that eat death and they are awkward on the ground, and many people think that they're ugly. But when I did unbiased, non-dualistic research on these animals, and this was not intuitively, this was looking up what the spirit totem for buzzards are, it was interesting because not only do they eat the dead, which some people see as bad, but it can also be seen as good because they can get their nourishment from anywhere. They can create life out of death and out of the things that would ordinarily hurt other beings. They can survive off of it and kind of go down to the darkest, shadowiest parts of existence and get their nourishment from there. Also, the totem represents being okay with merging the more energetic astral plane of existence and the physical plane of existence, because buzzards are really comfortable in the air. You can see them circling, and they're so graceful, and they're such beautiful flyers. And then on the ground, they're kind of awkward. They don't walk around very well. They're a little bit just weird looking when they try to move around. So they're more comfortable in the air than they are on the ground. But their food is on the ground, so they have to come back and get their nourishment from here, the physical plane, not the air, etheric, astral realm. And also, they can see thermal currents. So you know when you're driving on the road in the summer and there are these heat currents rising up off of the pavement, and you can see them like these waves going across your vision. Well, first of all, that's what various forms of energy look like too. So if you start noticing those when you're outside and there is no heat current around, you might be seeing into a slightly different dimension. But these guys don't just see them rising off the pavement. They can see them from miles away, and they can see them going all the way up into the sky, which is why they can always drift. They don't have to flap very much. They can just ride these currents up and down and up and down. And also they have amazing eyesight, obviously, which is how they see what their food is. They can see animals die, and they can see the dead animals, which I talked about a moment ago. So it was a fitting bird to come and add its energy to this video, just as these beautiful trees are right now. It's very still and hot today, a little bit muggy for California, which really isn't muggy if you've lived in places like Virginia and Florida, in my experience. Oh yeah, there's 4 of them again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 buzzards. Wow, I've never seen that many in one time before. Anyway, but the trees have all started moving around very gently, kind of like aquatic plants, since I've been talking, so I think that they're really adding some energy to this video for you guys, and I'm happy about that because, so what's happening right now, I think, is, you know, Gaia is rebirthing herself. So she's doing it energetically and dimensionally, and from our perspective as creatures who only see a sliver of the light spectrum and hear a little bit of the audible spectrum, although most things around us see more, animals see more, insects see more, buzzards see more, trees and plants experience more. They don't necessarily see it with their eyes, obviously, because they don't have eyes. But anyway, so as kind of handicapped or disabled beings, which we are as humanity, as humans, our sphere of understanding, influence, and sense is expanding. So we're able to perceive more. It's not that we're changing. A lot of people in the past who've done the ascension thing would leave the physical plane and go into the etheric plane. But that's not what's happening to us. We're needing to stretch out and remain here in the physical plane and also be able to exist and coexist and put our stamp on the etheric plane. And that's a new thing that hasn't happened before in the way that it's happening right now. And the way that it's happening is Gaia as a planet is also rebirthing herself, because she has helped to co-create and harbor and nurture and incubate us as beings, because she has a vested interest. It's not like we're just some cancerous substance that's eating her and destroying her. It might be worth it to think about the way that we are only aware of a tiny sliver of existence. So the effects that we're having on the planet might not be as far-ranging as we think. And she has told me many, many times that we don't need to fix the damage. All we need to do is stop pouring poison into her wounds, and she will heal herself, because she is a living being. It's not like putting trash into a receptacle and you need to take it out. It's like scratching your hand. Your hand will heal so long as you don't keep pouring poison on the wound. That's what she's doing. One of the ways that she's doing this is awakening large numbers of people, or providing the atmosphere that people can awaken should they choose to take that path. And that's what a lot of you guys are experiencing. That's what I'm experiencing. And it's happening through this death and rebirth thing. And it's not easy, and it's scary, and it is unpredictable, because since we are going to a place that we've never been in before, no one's ever been here before, Gaia has not been here before with us as co-creators. We've done other things with her, but not this thing. And we obviously haven't been here before, at least not in these numbers. What we're going into, we can't fathom yet. So if you have any creative projects you're working on that aren't coming to fruition, or if you have plans that just aren't really gelling, or if things are happening unexpectedly, especially if you're getting thrown for a loop, then relax, take as much space and time as you need to recharge. I slept like all day today, and it was fantastic. This area is really great. I hope that you guys can feel the soothing and healing and refuge currents that are in this vortex right now. I don't know if these are always here. This is only the second time I've visited this area. And I've been kind of mid-California in the forests surrounding San Francisco. And it's really amazing here. But I'm setting the attention that this energy come through the video and help to kind of put a balm on your own abrasion wounds from the crazy shaking and just complete revamping that's happening to us. And you can see that I'm having a hard time finding my words, or usually I don't at all. Obviously, quite the opposite usually. I have too many words. So as far as right now goes, go ahead and set your intentions. Right now is a really important time to be setting intentions, because part of the way that we're able to stretch our awareness and inhabit more dimensions at once consciously, because we're always inhabiting all dimensions, it's like being underwater in a pool. And our guides, those of you who speak openly and consciously to your guides will know exactly what I'm talking about here. Hearing our guides can be likened to being underwater and hearing people on the surface talking. You have to kind of ignore what's going on underwater and focus in a certain way, and then you can hear what's going on out of the water. That's what it's like talking to guides. And this third dimension material realm is like the water. It's thicker, it's denser, things happen more slowly in it, it's a lot more intense and more dangerous in some ways. But it's also fun, and we get to create here, and we're coming to a realm of co-creation with this planet that has never before happened. I would urge you to go outside in nature more and communicate with the land. Nature loves humans. Nature wants to help humans. It's like if you have someone that you love, a family member, a loved one, a friend, a child, any of these relationships that you're pretty selfless in, and they say, hey, would you hand me a glass of water when you're in the kitchen? You say, yeah, of course, sure. And it doesn't put you out to hand them a glass of water. You want to do it because you love them. That's the way nature feels about us. I was camping last summer with Mike Clelland, Ultralight camping. My backpack only was 16 pounds, and we were out there for 3 nights. It was amazing. I would highly recommend it if you have the chance. Anyway, we needed a spring, and I didn't want to put those nasty chlorine drops in my water. I'm really sensitive to the taste of those things, and they freak me out. I'll do it if I have to. I'm going to be safe and not irresponsible. Actually, I will be irresponsible if I have the choice, but he wasn't going to be irresponsible. But I really didn't want to drink that yucky chlorine, so we were almost out of water. So as we were walking, I sent out a message to Gaia as we were walking over her surface and said, can we please have a spring? And within 15-30 minutes, there was a network of springs that just appeared before us. Mike didn't know they were there. I didn't know they were there. They weren't marked on the map that we had. They just appeared, because nature is very fluid. Nature can move as quickly as the leaves can move. We're always in this reality that's always shifting and moving, but we don't notice because we are like people on a ship and we've got our sea legs. So we have to be grounded here in order to play the reality 3D game. But Do you know how when you've been drinking or you are somehow displaced from your body and you sit or lie in bed and it's like the room is spinning, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't? You probably know what I'm talking about. That's what's going on all the time. My guides told me this last summer. My guide said, this thing that you're seeing right now, because I was kind of seeing the room flow. I think I'd been out with my sister the previous night, and so the next morning I'm kind of laying there in bed looking around. And the room was flowing, but it wasn't. And they said, this is happening all the time. Your reality is actually quite fluid, but you're grounded in it in order to function and in order to participate, so you don't notice. So it's an interesting thing to think about, that yes, all of our reality is like that, but even more so nature, because nature will co-create with us in a way that it's more difficult to do with inanimate objects generally, although that can happen too after you get used to doing it. So anyway, I've rambled all over the place in this video. I hope that you guys are doing well and keeping your heart center throughout this, because everything is shifting and changing. It's not just you, it's the planet, and we are experiencing things that the planet is experiencing. If you're not having shifts and changes right now and you're on an even keel, that's great. More power to you. It must be nice. But most of the people I know, especially the people who are consciously going through transformation in order to become more divine creators in a way that they are aware of and direct, with their minds marrying their divine embodiment, they're going through these transitions. And the thing I'd like to leave you with is the idea of the ego. I've been talking to a lot of my friends about this. And me and Viktoriya Kosta, who I'm doing a workshop with next weekend in Richmond, Virginia, we were talking about the ego and how the ego is not something that we need to kill or squash. We are here to get it. We have had the mind going for thousands of years now in order to get the ego, because what our point is in this Earth mission is to marry the ego to divine consciousness. It's not to get rid of the ego and go completely back to source. The idea is we become conscious, unique creators. And so what an ego actually is, it's a sense of uniqueness, and it's a pride for all the experiences you've gathered. Now, an ego out of balance is the thing that makes you fearful, jealous, greedy, lack mentality, and all of the similar things that the ego is usually labeled as. But that is a sick ego. That's not a healthy ego. A healthy ego is just loving being an individual. When I was just talking to a good friend of mine earlier today, and we were talking about acknowledging and loving differences rather than finding them as things to attack people on. You know, they just passed gay marriage out here in California, so that's a big thing. And also there's a bunch of racist issue going on with some trials going on right now. We were talking about how people are looking at differences as if it's a problem, whereas what we're supposed to do is look at them and appreciate them and say, wow, I don't have this, but you do. Let's share and show me, or I'll just appreciate about you. My friend has blonde hair, and I was talking to her about how beautiful her blonde hair and blue eyes are. I don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. And when I look at her beautiful blonde hair, I don't look at my hair and go, it's just brown. I'm cool with the fact that my hair is brown. It's what I look like. And I am here to be in this body. I chose this body, and I want to enjoy it. And also, it's different if you are in an unhealthy pattern and you know that your body isn't living its fullness, then of course, yeah, go ahead and change your pattern. Start to make intentions and do research to see what goes with you the best. But wishing you were something you aren't, or abusing in your mind other people for being different than you, completely annihilates the point. If we only had one type of tree, this earth would be a lot less interesting. If we only had one type of person or one color, you know, if everything was orange or whatever. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to revel in the differences and use them as a springboard for creating more awesome things as we clean up our egos and help them to be in line with our divine purpose and our divine center and our divine power. And then we create universes, one world at a time, from your own perspective going out. So, hope you're all doing well. Hope that was helpful. I'm rambly, but you know I'm going through a transition, so I'm not as coherent as I may be other times. So I'm not going to apologize for that, because it's what I'm experiencing right now, and although it's intense, it is also kind of fun. So go in peace, and I will talk to you again very soon.